What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So undefeated, unified 3-belt WBC, WBA, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who is widely considered by many to be top 2, if not number 1, definitely top 5 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, in Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr., who has 28 wins, no losses, no draws, 22 big wins by way of knockout, 32 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. He responds to the possibility that it looks bleak that he's going to fight the biggest fight in the sport of boxing currently as it stands, and the biggest fight of his career, an undisputed welterweight showdown between himself and his biggest rival, an undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO, World Boxing Organization welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the number 1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. My number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terence Crawford, 38 wins, no losses, no draw, 29 big wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. With that said, okay, Errol Spence has put it out there that he has, or his team has contacted Terence Crawford for the past 2 weeks, and that Terence Crawford and his team haven't responded, and that, you know, it's not looking good for the fight to happen. But Errol Spence is saying that his team is saying that they was looking for it to happen in 2023. As I told you guys, it wasn't going to happen in 2022, this year, but it's a strong possibility it could happen in 2023, right? The biggest fight in the sport of boxing. There was some stipulations that Terence Crawford reportedly wanted, and that wasn't in the contract initially. According to Errol Spence's team, there was 3 things that was that didn't meet Terence Crawford's, you know, it didn't meet his happiness, right? Didn't meet what he wanted, his standards, and he wanted those to be adjusted. And according to them, they saying that they sent out a new contract with it, you know, adjusted, and that Terence Crawford didn't respond, right? So it's not looking good for the Terence Crawford Errol Spence fight to even happen in 2023. Okay, so with that said, right, we have other fighters now that Errol Spence put it out there and his team put it out there. Now you have other fighters, you know, putting their bid in, throwing their hat in the ring, and looking to make a fight between themselves and Errol Spence. That included lightweight superstar title contender Rolando "Rolly" Romero, who is now 14 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 12 wins by way of knockout. He is 26 years of age, 5'8" with a 68-inch arm reach. He's vying to get an opportunity now to fight Errol Spence. And Errol Spence responds by saying, you know, he's not going to fight Rolando "Rolly" Romero. He says, I don't do tune-ups, okay? I don't do tune-up fights. I only do competitive fights, right? So Errol Spence is letting it be known he has no interest in fighting Rolando "Rolly" Romero, and he called Rolly a tune-up. So he said, I don't do tune-up fights, okay? In the same token, now people are starting to say, what's next for Errol Spence, right? Especially since Errol Spence has put it out there, he don't do tune-up fights, right? So that leads people to start to speculate, is Errol Spence willing to face off against undefeated welterweight superstar title contender, the phenom Jaron Ennis, who is 29 wins, no loss, no draw, 27 big wins by way of knockout. He is 25 years of age, 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach. Or will Errol Spence, who Jaron Ennis is now, you know, a mandatory for Errol Spence's belt, or is Errol Spence willing to bend, right, and concede and to what the PBC, Premier Boxing Champion, founder and advisor Al Heyman want? You know, as the PBC had put out a poll once about Errol Spence fighting former unified lightweight world, former unified welterweight world champion, superstar boxer Keith "one-time" Thurman. Okay, Keith Thurman is a guy who's been looking to get an opportunity to fight Errol Spence since he lost his belts. Now, obviously, Errol Spence, he was pushing for a fight with Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman was uninterested in making a fight happen when they were both champions for a unification bout. Keith Thurman said he was going in a different direction. Keith Thurman now 30 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 22 wins by way of knockout. He's 33 years of age, 5'8.5" with a 69-inch arm reach. So is Errol Spence willing to go the Keith Thurman route, the Jaron Boots Ennis route, or is Errol Spence going to go up to junior middleweight, right? Because he stated that he didn't have much time at 147. And even when two division world champion Puerto Rican superstar boxer Danny Swift Garcia recently moved up to 154 and had his debut at junior middleweight, Errol Spence said that extra weight must feel good, right? So he was on board saying that extra weight must feel good, which is an indication that Errol Spence clearly wants to move to 154, and he already stated that the only reason he was staying at 47 was simply because he wanted to make the fight happen with Terence Crawford. Now, one thing I will point to, which is pretty obvious to me, the fact that Errol Spence's team revamped the contract and resent it to Terence Crawford, is that there was issues in the contract that they were aware that Terence Crawford wasn't happy with and didn't meet his standards, right? And they decided over the last 2 weeks to send Terence Crawford the contract that was revamped to make the fight happen in 2023. Okay, as I told you guys, it seemed like the powers that be when I talked to Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford himself, he stated that Terence Crawford stated that Errol Spence himself wanted to fight. He believed that Errol Spence wants to fight, but he believes the powers that be, Errol Spence's team, they don't want to make the fight happen. They're not interested and eager to make the fight happen between the two. They're not doing the necessary movement behind the scenes to make the fight happen. And so Terence Crawford feels like Errol Spence's team don't want to make the fight. The powers that be. We know Showtime president of sports, Stephen Espinosa, who wants the fight to take place on his platform and his network. Stephen Espinosa said that there was still hope the fight could happen November 19th. Stephen Espinosa is also on record saying that, he believes that, both parties involved have to be, they have to be realistic, that neither one of them was Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. And so as far as revenue wise, they have to be realistic. But as I told you guys, Terence Crawford himself told me that he was willing to take 65-35 split in favor of Errol Spence. He was willing to take no back end money, no upfront money, but with hopes of, Terence Crawford, wanting to see the actual numbers of what the fight would have done, which he would receive on the back end. So looks like that has fell through, right? According to Errol Spence's team, right? Looks like that's not the case, and looks like it's going to fall through. So with that said, it begs the question as to what's next for, Errol Spence, right? Like he said, he don't do tune-ups, right? So is he going to go to 54? To go to 54, more than likely he's going to have to face somebody that is a tune-up, right? Or if he stays at 47, Keith Thurman and Jaron Boots Ennis is the only options, not named Terence Crawford, that's sellable for Errol Spence at the level that he's looking to make the fight happen, period, right? And so it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Errol Spence does next. Obviously, he don't have much interest in fighting Rolando Rolly Romero, who's 135-pounder, is coming off a loss to Gervonta Tank Davis. Errol Spence don't have no interest in that. And then fans were saying Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia was a lightweight, and Lamont Peterson was washed up. So Errol Spence said, imagine what I'm going to do to the other guy. You understand? Meaning Rolly, or he could be hinting at Terence Crawford. But the fight, I could tell you now, the fight that the world's going to call for is going to be Errol Spence and Jaron Boots Ennis. that's the fight that the fans are going to be calling for, especially seeing as though Errol Spence is on the record saying he don't do tune-ups. The fight everybody going to want to call for and want to see is Errol Spence versus Jaron Boots Ennis. Jaron Boots Ennis, he fought Custio Clayton. Errol Spence was ringside. They did a little bit of jawing back and forth. We know they did a FaceTime with Gilly the Kid and Yellow Beezy. You know, they went back and forth with that. You know, so that's the fight that the fans are going to call for, and they're going to be screaming to make happen. If he don't fight Keith Thurman. Now, if he fight Keith Thurman, people will accept it. But if he don't fight Jaron Boots Ennis, moving up to 54, he's going to have a tune-up. So we got to see how this unfolds and plays out. But it's bad news for the fans. But let's see how this everything unfolds and works itself out. That's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.